Good afternoon, CMS families. My name is Dr. Claudia Allen, and it's my pleasure to present to you this afternoon and share some information around the Master Review Predictive Assessment, known as MVPAs within the district. So again, it's great to be here with you. This is our wonderful team of the School Improvement and Data Integration team. And if any questions or concerns, you can reach out to any of us via OnFlow or our emails here. So today's session that I will be presenting to you will be focused on identifying what is the Master Review Predictive Assessment, when it's administered in CMS, and in which content areas. We'll also try to identify the individual student report and be able to interpret each sections. So hopefully that's what you'll take away from today's session. So what is the Master Review Predictive Assessments? Master Review Predictive Assessments are standardized benchmark tests designed to predict student performance on state-level summative assessments. So if your students are engaged in like an end-of-year, end-of-grade assessment or an end-of-course assessment in high school, this assessment will help teachers and the district be able to get predictive information on their performance towards those assessments. This assessment is also developed to align with the state assessment blueprints. And so Mastery Connect work closely with the state to look at what is required of the standards and the assessment needed to form and develop these assessments. This assessment provides teachers with data on student mastery of learning to standards throughout the school year. And this assessment is administered online throughout the year. When do students take the MVPA? So on this particular screen, you'll see that elementary students take this assessment twice throughout the school year. In past, it was 3 years. This year will be twice, with the third third assessment being optional. The first one is being currently administered now. The first assessment in grades 3 through 5, reading, math, and in 5th grade science. And then again in March, they'll take the final assessments in grades 3 through 5 in reading and math and 5th grade science. Our middle school students take this test several times throughout the year, depending on what grade and content that they're sitting in. Currently, in November, the first assessments will be provided to students in grades 6 through 8 reading and math, 8th grade science, and in math 1. In December, some of our middle school courses are a semester basis. So what you'll see here in December, the first final assessment for our students in the semester course of Math 1 will be taking this assessment again. And then in March, we have the final assessment for the grade 6 through 8 reading and math, grade 8 science, and math 1 for those year-long math 1 courses. And then the final assessment for those students in math 1 in the second semester of the school year. We'll take that assessment in April. And as you can see, in high school, there are several windows, and these several windows are based on the type of school. For example, early and middle colleges that students are enrolled in, as well as we have traditional high school, and then we have year-long courses, and then we have semester courses. So I won't read all of the dates here, but just if you take a look at this slide, it just varies. The date of the assessment varies based on the level of school and the type of school they're in, as well as whether it's traditional or semester or year-long courses. The assessment window varies. So it might seem like it's a lot more, but it's pretty much, it's the same type of window, but just based on the type of school, the high school, then the windows vary. Now, one of the things we really want to highlight for families is the individual student reports. This particular one that you're looking at, we pull from the middle school ELA course. This report should be sent home by your child's school shortly after the testing window. I want to say within 10 days or so after the assessment window has closed, this report should be sent home by your child's teacher. This report, when you get it, shows each student's individually in a teacher's class. So your child should bring home their own individual report. And it highlights the specific subject and the students' percent correct and their overall projected levels. So again, this is the Master Review Predictive Assessment. So one of the main feature of this report, and you should look for in your child's individual report, is their projected levels, the different standards that is being assessed, as well as the different projected levels for the depth of knowledge, because on the as well as on the end of grade or end of EOC students. Each question has a different depth of knowledge ranging from levels 1 through 4. And so this is also provides information around the student's performance and on each of the depth of knowledge question. It also provides students' performance on different genres as well as domain standards. Now we're going to take a little bit closer look at the individual student report. Click, please. What you'll notice on the left-hand side of this report when you receive it at home will be the student information. You should see your child's name, the teacher's name, the class period, the school that the child attends, as well as the district. That will be on the top left-hand side. Click, please. Over on the right-hand side, what this information is provided for you is letting you know that this assessment aligns to either the end of grade assessment as well as the end of course assessment. End of grade assessments are administered in elementary and middle schools in reading, math, and science. And the end of course assessment are mainly administered in high school, but then if the students are in 8th grade and taking Math 1, that's a high school course, but they're taking it in middle school, then they will also take the EOC. So this feature on the right-hand side just helps you to understand that this assessment aligns, the scores that you'll see and the numbers being displayed on this report aligns with those assessment as well. Click, please. Now, the bottom half of this, 2/3 of this report features assessment information. Click, please. Right now on the left-hand side, right, you see achievement data. What we want to pull your eyes into is where it says overall and achievement level projection. So again, this is a predictive assessment. So the idea here in this information is to provide for you, if your student were to take the end of grade or end of course assessment right now in this particular content area, this would what their projected level would be. So it's projected out what your student's performance would be. And again, it's aligned to the end of grade or end of course assessment. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that information so you have an understanding around how your child is performing in that particular area for this particular assessment. Click, please. Right below the overall achievement level, what they do is then they break down for each of the standards that's being assessed that your child is taking or your student is taking. It provides for you individual projected level for each of the standards. So not only do you get an overall projected level of how the overall composite of performance is for your child or the student, but it also provides a breakdown for each of the standards that's being assessed. How is the student performing on that level? So, it helps you to understand the student's strengths, areas of and students, areas of development, or some support might be needed. So then you can follow along and see how your child is performing overall, and as well as skill by skill or standard by standard. Click, please. On the right-hand side, it goes back to the depth of knowledge, as I mentioned before, often referred to as DOK. So the state aligns in each of the questions that's on the end of course or end of grade assessment, as well as this assessment because it's aligned to those assessment. There's a level of knowledge that the state is assess the student, and that ranges from depth of knowledge 1, which are the lower level types of question, all the way to depth of knowledge 4, which are your more complicated type of questionings. What this part of the report is identifying for you, as your child or the student took the test, how they perform on the different levels, depth of knowledge, on the easier type of questions, depth of knowledge 1, and how they perform all the way up to depth of knowledge 4. So you can see that here as well. Again, to help you identify as a family where that student needs some support, whether they're struggling with depth of knowledge 1 versus 2, 3, or 4. And then you could have a conversation with the teachers around, or the child around, where they need to strengthen their performance in regards to the depth of knowledge questions. The last section of this report that we want to identify for you is data in relation to the grade level proficiency. So in the bottom part of this information, it just really tells you based on the standards how your child's performing on the different levels and give your overall performance level, again, in comparing how your child is scoring on the different standards. So this is an area that you really want to also pay attention to, just to know how the student is performing in each of the standards. This area is not broken down into the single digit, but here we see double digits, but just gives you an idea of the student level of proficiency on the assessment. So again, the individual student report in its totality should come home with you. And again, Molly did mention that you will have this presentation, so you could always refer back to this particular slide to see how to interpret and be able to understand what each component of the individual student report is highlighting for you. Here we are we just showed a middle school, so we wanted to show you elementary school version of the individual student report on the left and a high school version. As you can see that they're pretty similar in their layout and their function and structure. So just wanted to show you that regardless of your student is in whatever level, elementary, middle, or high, the reports are similar with the similar information. And then again, we'll hold all questions, but again, that is what we have for you in regards to the MVPA, the Mastery Review Predictive Assessment, and we'll turn it over now to Learning and Teaching. Thank you, and we'll answer your questions at the end.
Hey everyone, thank you so much, Dr. Allen. I'm Stephanie Conlin, and I work in learning and teaching in elementary, and I represent the math team, and I'm here with
Dr. Kendra Alston. So welcome everyone to today's Lunch and Learn session. And I am one of the district curriculum specialists. And again, I'm joined here by Stephanie Conlin, one of our wonderful math specialists. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us. Today's session is specifically designed to help you support, to give you that support in accessing resources that align with your child's MVPA assessment results. So we're going to walk you through how to use those learning at home resources available through the CMS website to help reinforce classroom instruction. Click, please. Before we dive in, I want to make sure that you know who your literacy, you can click back. All of the specialists are across the grade levels. These are folks who support literacy instruction and can provide grade-specific resources and guidance. You'll see contact information for each grade level here, from Sarah Hessen in kindergarten all the way through Danielle Lang in grade 5. Click, please.
Go ahead.
Similarly, here are your math curriculum specialists. And for each grade level, just like with literacy, these specialists are available to support you with math instruction, assessment, analysis, and helping you understand your child's math progress. Hannah Wood supports kindergarten, and you'll see specialists for each grade level through grade 5 with Susan Copeland. Again, these email addresses are your direct line to grade level expertise in mathematics. And finally, here are your science and social studies curriculum instructional specialist, Ashley. She supports elementary science, and Latanda supports elementary social studies. And while today's session focuses primarily on literacy and math resources tied to MVPA, please know that these specialists are available to support you with science and social studies instruction as well. So I wanted to see, what's that?
All right. Thank you so much for that introduction, Kendra. And again, you'll have access to these slides after our session today. So if you're looking for that contact information later, you can access that through the slides. So Dr. Allen showed us the individual student report, and we're going to walk through the key components so you can understand a little more about what you're looking at. So at the top, you'll see the basic test information again, like student name, teacher, school district, and what assessment was administered. And then there's the student overall projection score. This score is a projection of how the student is likely to perform on the state test based on their current performance. And you'll see these achievement levels like 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to take a look at the student projection score, which I have here in this orange box. And we're going to think about if this was like my daughter, who could be in 4th grade, if this was her score for, I see in this description box, it says explain why 2 factors are equivalent, compare 2 different fractions, justify simplifying fractions, extend understanding of mult, whatever that means, and factor pairs. But I also see these achievement levels in this little orange box, and I see lots of 5s, and then I see a 2. So I think, oh, my daughter Mackenzie, she must need some help with whatever that one is about. And it says it's about factor pairs. And there's a standard tied to it. It's a standard and objective. Do you see where it says OA4, factor pairs in the bottom of this table? We're going to remember OA4 because I'm going to take you now. I'm going to share my screen in just a moment and take you to a website that will show you where you can find specific support for your child at home that has to do with exactly that topic about factor pairs. Before I open that up though, I want to show you how you can access that. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, I'm not sharing that screen. I want to share screen. Okay, so we are going to hop to our CMS homepage. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger for us, and I'm going to go to Family Portal. This is a great quick way for us to access all the resources at home. You might have noticed in other videos, if you've been on here with us before, that we have just to the Family Portal many times. So we're going to go to General. Yep.
If you can back up to the home page,
Yes.
it took a second to get your screen large.
Oh. Okay. How are we doing now?
Perfect, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so Family Portal is under, I see like some video here happening at the top, and then Family Portal is in this row underneath. So I'm going to click Family Portal and I'll slow my roll a little bit. And now I'm going to click on General Pre-K 12 Resources.
Elementary.
Oh, you can go back to elementary. Yep, thank you. Navigate out of there. Elementary resources right here, second row. Thanks, Molly. And there's a button down here. It looks like learning at home. There's a little home.
How convenient.
Right? Okay. So from here, we've been discussing MVPA assessments today. So I want to go to the resources for this specific assessment. So I'm just going to click all the way over here where it says MVPA resources.
And I like how we can choose our language too over on the side.
True.
Yes.
So from here, I'll consider if my child is in elementary school, middle school, or high school. I'm going to select elementary school, but you'll notice in a little bit when we toss it over to secondary that they're going to review with you some of the middle school resources, but we're going to start with elementary. From here, I'm opened up to 3 different slide decks, and my daughter's in 4th grade. So I'm going to click on the grade 4 learning at home resources by standards. Okay, this is the part where I want to remember that standard that I saw over here, where it says factor pairs and OA4 from the individual student report. I want to see what kind of help at home I can utilize with my daughter about factor pairs.
What is OA4?
Oops. Right, so what is OA4? So I'm going to click math resources here.
Okay.
And I'm going to find the standard that says OA4.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it just has this part of the tag here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I click there, it's going to take me right to this slide. I notice that this one says OA3. This one says OA4. If you're not a classroom teacher, you probably don't know what OA4 is.
Right.
And if you haven't been in elementary school in a long time, you might not remember what factor pairs are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to read through this to see what is it that students are learning when we learn about factor pairs. What does that include? And I see factor pairs of whole numbers. Oh, and it says only up to 50. I see the words prime and composite. I remember hearing those words, multiples. So we have a little bit of information about what is important about factor pairs that students are learning. How can we help? So in the screen section, there's some questions you can ask students, some things that they can practice, and some other prompts as well.
Stephanie, as someone who's still trying to strengthen my math identity as a parent, I'm like, this is all great. This sounds great. But is there a video or something that I can look at? Because I'm just more visual.
Oh.
Is there something on here that I can click on and actually see this in action?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I would really need.
I like live and breathe in math every day, and it's important for me to remember not everybody does that.
Right.
So we've also included some Khan Academy lessons and videos. So I'm just going to click in the bottom part here where it says practice resources in orange. And if I click here, it's going to take me to Khan Academy. Now, don't worry about a login and everything. Students are able to log in for free using their CMS email ID. But notice how it says, am I ready to practice? And if I'm like, I'm not practice yet, I can click on in the sidebar here to the left to what's before the, understanding factor pairs.
Oh, there we go. There's the video. Okay.
You could watch it together. You could ask me some questions. We could pause along the way.
Or I could watch it before I actually go and help my child so that I can see.
Right. So Dr. Alden, she's gonna watch it ahead of time, so she's prepared to support her child at home when she asks them to do this too. So there's lots of resources here, and you can see there's like a whole flow on the left side of things to learn that are related to the standard and what is important that fourth graders know about that OA4 standard, which is about factor pairs.
Awesome.
So that's that's the math side of things in this resource. So if I go back out, remember we got here, and literacy and math are on the same resource page. So Kendra, do you want to walk us through the literacy part of things?
Sure. So it's set up the very same way. Where we click on the literacy resources. And if you notice, we kept everything consistent. And this is Stephanie's computer.
My laptop.
So if you notice in this particular case, if we're looking at RL 4.1, if we don't have an idea of what the R, the L, the 4, or the 1 is, it does break it down what students learn. It's about referring to details and examples in a text, how families can help. You can ask these specific questions because sometimes when we're at home and we have our students to go read, just go read. We need to do a little bit more than that and ask specific questions. And if we want to focus in on those standards that we know our students need support in from the MVPA results, we have this question here that we can ask. We also have example questions like read a short passage. What conclusion can you draw about the main character's relationship with others? Support your answers with, there we go, specific details and examples from the text. But again,
Dr. Alston, I don't know what that means.
Exactly. So,
What do you mean?
so here we have practice resources, and we also have Khan Academy videos as well. And we have iReady videos that kind of support that standard as well.
Okay. And can students log into iReady?
Yes, they will be able to log into iReady at home. And when they log in, that particular lesson supports that particular standard, and they can get that practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop sharing, and Ms. Brown, if you would like to hop back to our slide deck, this is the elementary portion of the resource section, and I'm going to hand it off now to secondary, which is going to be Mr. Pillsbury and Ms. Cuffey, and they're going to walk you through some other resources that also are available on that website. Remember, you're going to select the grade band like elementary, middle, or high school. And I think what secondary wants to do is show you what those resources look like after you click on them. So I'm going to throw it over to them now.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I think we need to click ahead to secondary, I should say. There we go. One more. And there's our middle school curriculum instruction specialist team. So we're all kind of in there together, and that's the way we like to work, is together, combined with all of our content with math, ELA, and science and social studies. And there's our director off to the right of our team. So I'd like to welcome you all, and I'm just going to kind of take off from where everybody's guided us to this point, and we're going to talk about the family resources that are available for you for middle school, 6th through 8th grade. And the examples that we have are for each grade level. So we'll go to the next slide, and so there's 6th grade. So I think the biggest thing as a parent is as anybody is the standards, right? The 6NS1 doesn't mean a whole lot in and of itself. So understanding what the standard is primarily the first thing we're addressing here in this document. And then to the right, you'll notice resources that are available similar to what was shared to you by our great elementary specialists, we also have videos that are available. We have documents that are available as well. There's a parent letter that kind of just gives you an overview of our curriculum for all of our grade levels and what's being how things are being addressed for that particular standard. But remember, this correlates or kind of goes back to that student report that you're going to get. It's going to tell you where your child maybe needs some extra support based on the standard. So that's kind of what you're looking for when you're trying to support them. And we can go on to seventh grade. We can see the seventh grade standards here as well. And the resources that are available, those are all live links. And we could just kind of keep clicking through. There's more seventh grade, and then we've got eighth grade as well. So this is kind of, as Stephanie explained, like this is the next level. Like when you're going in to the same site that you did for elementary, you would just go to middle school, the resources that are available for you to access to get support. And we're hoping that that's helpful. We understand that math does get a little bit more, um, you know, conceptually difficult as you proceed up through into high school. And but I can assure you there is no new math. Everybody talks about new math. We're just the biggest thing is we're just trying to be open to approaches to solving mathematics and not trying to just stick to one particular thing because we all think differently and we've got to appreciate our differences and respect that the way people think. So hopefully this has been helpful. Our contact information is on the slides you saw before, and we're going to transition over to ELA for middle school next. And I guess I see some math questions over in Q&A, and we'll address those later on, right, Molly?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. All right, Hazima, you can take over from here.
Thank you, Mr. Pillsbury. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hazima Cuffy, and I'm one of the middle school ELA curriculum specialists. I just want to take a moment to just debrief our resources for our session today. The middle school ELA resources are categorized and organized into 3 of our standard strands. So reading for information, reading for literature, and our language standards. Each standard includes paired passages and accompanying questions designed to address students' areas of growth as indicated on the MVPA assessment. These materials give students extra opportunities to practice and reinforce learning at home. The curriculum letters within our resource also provides family with a clear overview of what students are learning throughout the course of the school year. It's a scope that'll provide an instructional lens for families to stay connected to what's happening inside of the classrooms. To encourage reading beyond the classrooms, we've also included a paired recommended reading text. And so we're always pushing for families to support the literacy skills in the middle schools as an extension of what's happening in our lower grades. And so the recommended text is paired with our curriculum modules. So the similar topics and conversations that are happening in schools around our core text, we can continue that learning at home and continue promoting the literacy skills through reading about the subjects that are also connected to the learning in the classrooms. Additionally, within our resources, there are also scripts and guiding questions for families. So that way, as you're helping your students, all of the resources and grade level specific content that are within these resources, if you don't have the tools in your toolkit, we're giving those to you. So we're giving you the questions to ask, we're giving you the sentence starters to help support your students in the learning. The next resource that's outlined within our resource guide is Sora. Sora is CMS's digital library, and Sora provides access to the public library, but in a digital form. So CMS students have free access to hundreds of novels, movies, audiobooks, and ebooks through Sora. It'll also continue to help support student choice, so students are able to check out books of their choice, helping to continue promoting those literacy, those comprehension skills. And also, it makes independent reading available anywhere for students, whether at home or on the go. The online library checkout process works just as similar as it does in person. So students can borrow, they can return, and even place hold on books that they want to read. Students can access Sora through CMS's Launchpad on their Chromebooks. And I am going to cover the science portion because the science specialist who works in the secondary department alongside of us, she's actually presenting at another meeting today. But as administered on the first MVPA assessment, ecology was covered along with a little bit of chemistry within that unit. The resources here that are provided can help students relate to real world events to their current science units in which they're learning in the classroom. So we encourage you all to ask your students questions and watch the videos to help students re-engage with the content as outlined by the MVPA assessment.